Yes, folks, our dear leader Jacinda Ardern is milking the Christchurch terrorist attack once again. Now, to understand why she's doing it, we need not look any further than America, the Democrats in America, who want open borders for the sole purpose of creating a new voter bloc. These people are not concerned about the rights of Americans. They're only concerned with votes and power. And Jacinda Ardern is exactly the same. And she's clearly shown that by offering to take the refugees from Nauru and Manus Island, thus restarting the boat people smuggling again. And she's also shown it by signing the United Nations Global Compact on Migration, which is supposed to be non-binding, but we'll soon find out it's not. Once you're in the club, folks, you're in the club. Now, without question, she signed that compact because most of the refugees will be Muslim. Her new voter bloc. So start connecting the dots, folks.
The Prime Minister admits the government could be doing more to help the Muslim community in the wake of the March 15th terrorist attack. She addressed about 200 Muslim women today and made some big promises. Katie Bradford was there.
Muslim women keen to tell the Prime Minister about their experiences of discrimination and fear.
I was personally attacked on the same day that my community were buried.
The Islamic Women's Council providing the opportunity 5 months after the Christchurch terrorist attack. Jacinda Ardern taking the stage to admit the government hasn't got everything right. That includes the support offered to widows and victims.
It's keeping open with us and honest with us about where we have got things right and where we need to aspire to do things better.
But yeah.
She says, please keep being open with us and honest with us about where we've got things right and where we need to aspire to get things better. That's what she asked. Now that's back to front, folks. Really, really back to front. Surely the Muslims should be asking her that question.
Young Muslim women say they still live in fear sometimes.
I choose very carefully where I go, depending on time. I'm very conscious, very, very conscious of who's around me. Catching the bus to uni now, I refuse to sit on the top. I'll always sit next to an exit.
And they say they've discovered our laws aren't enough protection.
I found out that there wasn't enough policy and there wasn't enough laws that, or satisfying laws to meet the needs of New Zealand as a diverse community.
At the moment, race or hate-based crimes are not recorded as such under the law, and that's one of the changes people here would like to see the government make.
Well, of course they would.
But the Prime Minister says it's not that easy.
I would always be mindful that I don't think it will capture everything our community experiences.
The Muslim community say it's also about education and helping women rise through the workplace and sometimes into politics.
And you'll notice here in this lineup, folks, there are no burqas there. There are no images like that there. I wonder why that is.
Not a lot of them are rising up through the state sector. We need more diverse people who understand New Zealand's populations.
The Prime Minister's now promising to lead a political boot camp for young women.
Because there is so much I'd love to share.
And despite all those issues,
the community generally does feel safe. We feel that this is our nation.
No, this is not your nation. This is our nation, and you should be doing things our way. Anyway, now to Prime News to really start connecting some dots.
Jacinda Ardern says she will hold a politics boot camp for Muslim women in New Zealand who want to take up leadership positions. The Prime Minister wore a hijab as she spoke at the Islamic Women's Council National Conference in Auckland today. There was a show of hands and cheering from the room when Ardern asked if anyone was interested in local and central government leadership.
I would love for us to create a forum where we can spend some time together as central, as politicians and women, with those who are interested in becoming or taking on leadership roles.
So why is she asking Muslims to take on leadership roles and not, say, white South Africans, for example? Well, the answer is obvious. Muslims are her new voter bloc, and she wants more Muslims here. And as a result of all this, we are going to see a lot more Muslims on our shores very soon. Here, now let's go to the UN to see why Jacinda Ardern signed the Global Compact on Migration. The United Nations is working to forge a new global compact for safe, orderly and regular migration. Regular migration. Regular migration of Muslims, because Muslims make up most of the refugees.
Migration has always been with us. And climate change, demographics, instability, growing inequalities, and aspirations for a better life, as well as unmet needs in labour markets, mean it is here to stay. And the answer is effective international cooperation in managing migration to ensure that its benefits are most widely distributed and that the human rights of all concerned are properly protected.
No, that's not true. Only the migrants' rights will be protected.
Let me begin with this reminder. While most migration is well managed and undertaken through regular channels, not all people wanting to migrate find a suitable channel to do so. Irregular migration, with all its inherent risks, is related to the lack of regular and safe pathways.
You and I are people. Migrants are people. Regardless of passports or visas, we all have the same fears and hopes. And as human beings, we are entitled to the same fundamental rights, no matter where we are or why we are there.
In today's world, all societies are becoming multicultural, multi-ethnic, and multi-religious. And this diversity must be seen as a richness, not as a threat. But to make diversity a success, we need to invest in social cohesion.
So how exactly do you create social cohesion when diversity creates tribes? And now to Hungary for some common sense.
Now, Hungary will quit the United Nations Migration Pact before its final approval. The Hungarian government announced this on Wednesday, adding that the accord posed a, quote, threat to the world. Now, the right-wing nationalist government in Budapest has been one of the strongest opponents to the European Union's migration policy since it fenced off Hungary's southern borders in 2015 to keep migrants out. Well, Hungary's latest move follows the Trump administration in the U.S. that left the UN Migration Pact, in 2017. Stefan Grobe spoke to the Hungarian foreign minister about that decision.
Hungary has announced that it will pull out of the talks of the United Nations Migration Pact. What problem do you have exactly with the UN Migration Pact?
This document remained a very biased and unbalanced document in a way that it tries to portray migration as something good by definition and as a fundamental human right, which it is not. And it only concentrates on the rights of migrants instead of concentrating on the rights of people generally, as it is being written in the compact.
Well, it's a non-binding agreement, right?
Whenever a compact is being approved by the United Nations, you can be sure that it's going to be a point of reference when it comes to judgments, when it comes to jurisdiction, when it comes to rulings of the court, be it international or domestic. So it's not that simple to say that it's legally non-binding.
The Austrian presidency has pushed the issue of external border control, external border protection to the forefront. The latest EU summit has concluded a deal on this. How do you judge it?
Now, everybody speaks about the protection of external borders, but these words are not followed by actions, or sometimes even the actions contradict to the words, because after saying that it's important to protect the borders externally, then the Minister of Interior of Italy makes a decision that no ships packed with illegal migrants are allowed to use or enter the harbors of Italy. And then instead of being praised or being helped, he's under enormous attack.
Yeah, and that will happen in New Zealand as well. If New Zealand tries to stop refugees, we'll come under attack. Yes, folks, the Hungarian Foreign Minister was absolutely correct there. The compact really isn't non-binding at all. So anyway, I hope that helped connect some dots.